The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus said to his disciples, "The Son of Man must suffer greatly and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised." Then he said to all, "If anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. What profit is there for one to gain the whole world, yet lose or forfeit himself?" The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise be Jesus and Mary. Dear brethren, we've heard in this first reading how God exhorts us to choose His commandments and how that is actually equal to choosing life. We need to have this well set in our minds that God is life. God is divine life. He's the source of all being. And so if we willingly, with our will, give consent to actions that are opposed to His will, we're actually severing ourselves from Him. That's very evident in the case of a mortal sin, where the action to which I give consent actually results in my being entirely severed from Him. In other words, I expel Him from my soul. So when God gives us the commandments, He's actually giving us the way to remain orientated toward Him, united to Him, by freely choosing to conform our actions to His will. We're actually orientating ourselves toward Him. We're doing that which is absolutely necessary to be united to Him. That union takes place above all in the will. If our will is opposed to His and we choose that which is against His will, that actually results in this being separated from Him. This needs to be borne in mind. It's very often forgotten in our world in which sin is completely, it's just basically normalized. So no one considers. You consider it maybe as an error or something that maybe I shouldn't do because of some kind of maybe social effect, but without considering the deep spiritual and even eternal effect of sin. By sinning, we cut ourselves off from He who is life. And that's why our Lord says at the end of this reading from Deuteronomy, I exhort you then, choose life. I've set before you life and death. Choose life. So how do we choose life? By choosing His will, by accomplishing His will, by conforming our actions to His, and doing that not out of any kind of constraint, but freely. That's where love comes in. Lord, because I love you, I freely choose to do that which is your will. Obviously, someone could do that just out of some kind of sense of fear. Well, there's no love in that, but at least you could say that's like the first level. Avoid sin at least out of fear. But that's not perfect. You want to avoid sin because you don't want to offend God who loves you. In today's Gospel, our Lord reminds us of that which is, it's something of key importance in choosing life, in choosing God, in opposing sin, and that is picking up our daily cross. If anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. So if sin is, just giving in to something which is self-seeking, prideful, and opposed to God's will, well, picking up our cross is completely in the other direction. Something which costs me, something which humbles me, something which causes and requires some self-abnegation, but that I choose to please God. So in the first case, I'm pleasing myself. I am, giving into my own pride and bad inclinations. In the second case, I'm denying myself. I'm trying to please Him, even if it costs. So you can see the two opposing directions. And that's why the cross is so useful to us. It's the tree of life. It's the tree of love. It's the best expression of love, at least in time. In heaven, it's not like that. There's no need. But here, so long as we are in time, the cross is very useful to us. So in this time of Lent, we'll probably hear this more than once. If anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow me. When we hear about the necessity of embracing our cross, it's easy to think of some kind of big crosses, sort of fear, what's our Lord going to ask of me? And there's some kind of big cross looming on the horizon. Well, that's might happen sometimes, but certainly if our Lord does ask something greater of someone, He will offer the graces necessary, so long as that soul has goodwill and it's using the means of prayer and the sacraments and the other means for obtaining a necessary grace. But generally, the greater part of that daily cross and of the crosses that our Lord expects us and asks us and invites us to accept and bear for love of Him, the greater part of these crosses are small crosses. And they're usually the ones that we neglect. Those are little things that happen every day, little having to wait for someone here, someone who drives badly on the road, someone who causes you trouble on the workplace, someone in the family who has got some defects and that kind of causing trouble. Those are the little crosses that you need to embrace. Exercising yourself, and this goes together with accepting and bearing our cross, exercising yourself in patience and humility and meekness goes together with carrying our cross. Our Lord didn't carry His cross with anger and saying bad words. There's nothing virtuous about that at all. If you're going to carry a cross for love of God, you've got to do it virtuously, with patience, with humility, with faith, with love. That's what makes it become a stepping stone to heaven and an expression of love. Whereas if it's done grudgingly, well, there's nothing virtuous about that at all. So we want to ask our Blessed Mother for the grace to carry our cross daily, but to carry our cross virtuously, to understand that it is one of the best expressions of love we can give to our Lord. Lord, this cost me, but I want it for you, and I want to bear it as is pleasing to you. This is a grace that we need to seek for and ask for every moment of our lives, being ready and vigilant so that when little crosses turn up, we can embrace them with generosity and in the exercise of virtue, imitating our Lord Jesus Christ and our Holy Mother. So just in closing, let us fix our eyes on the example that our Lord offers us, particularly in His Passion, but throughout His whole life. Remember that our Lord didn't suffer only in His Passion. Right from the moment of His incarnation, He embraced a life of penance. And next to Him we see our Blessed Mother, who, even though she was without sin and therefore had no real need to do any penance, she willingly and just out of pure love embraced a life of self-denial. That's the highest form of penance. I do that which costs me, and I do it willingly just because I love the person for whom I want to do that. So I just want to give myself in that way. That's what Our Lady did. So let's look at her example and the way she suffered, the virtues she performed in bearing her cross, in facing suffering, and ask her for the grace to do the same. Praise be Jesus and Mary.